U.S. food inflation and its impact on consumers and lower-income families. In recent years, the U.S. has experienced a significant increase in food prices, with some products experiencing particularly high levels of inflation. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the overall food index increased by 3.5% from March 2020 to March 2021, which is the largest 12-month increase since August 2011. One of the products that has seen the most significant inflation is beef. In March 2021, the retail price for beef was 18.4% higher than it was in March 2020. The price of chicken and pork products has also increased, with retail prices up by 7.1% and 6.1% respectively, over the same time period. These price increases have had a significant impact on consumers, particularly lower-income workers who may have less disposable income to spend on food. According to a report by the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, low-income households spend a larger percentage of their income on food than higher-income households. Therefore, food inflation hits these households the hardest. Furthermore, these price increases can also have a ripple effect on other areas of the economy. For example, if the cost of food increases, consumers may have less disposable income to spend on other goods and services, which can lead to a decrease in demand for those products and services. This decrease in demand can then lead to job losses and lower economic growth. Causes of U.S. food inflation. There are several factors that contribute to U.S. food inflation, including 1. Supply chain disruptions contribute to food inflation due to increasing consumer demand coupled with unpredictable transportation logistics. 2. The COVID-19 pandemic has caused significant disruptions to the food supply chain, with many processing plants experiencing temporary closures or reduced capacity due to outbreaks among workers. 3. These disruptions have led to shortages of certain products, which has driven up prices. 4. Increased demand for certain products is another factor contributing to food inflation is increased demand for certain products. For example, during the pandemic, there was a surge in demand for meat products as people stocked up on food supplies. This increased demand has led to shortages and price increases. Climate change is also contributing to food inflation, particularly for products such as beef. Droughts and other extreme weather events are reducing the supply of feed for cattle, which is driving up the cost of beef production. Transportation costs also play a role in food inflation. As the cost of fuel increases, so does the cost of transporting food products, which is passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. This could significantly impact the quality of life for lower-income families, forcing many lower-income families to prioritize their weekly and monthly financial obligations. For example, low-income households spend a larger share of their income on food than higher-income households, so food inflation hits these households the hardest. As the cost of food increases, these households may have to cut back on other expenses, such as healthcare or housing, in order to afford food. Furthermore, food inflation can also contribute to food insecurity, particularly for low-income households. According to a report by Feeding America, 42 million people in the U.S., including 13 million children, were food insecure in 2020. Food inflation can make it even more difficult for these households to access the food they need to stay healthy. Conclusion. U.S. food inflation is a complex issue that is driven by several factors, including supply chain disruptions, increased demand for certain products, climate change, and transportation costs. The impact of food inflation is particularly acute for lower-income families, who spend a larger share of their income on food and may have to cut back on other expenses in order to afford it. Beef, chicken, and pork products have seen some of the highest levels of inflation in recent years, with prices increasing by 18.4%, 7.1%, and 6.1% respectively, from March 2020 to March 2021. These price increases can have a significant impact on consumers, who may have less disposable income to spend on other goods and services, which can lead to a decrease in demand for those products and services and slower economic growth. To address food inflation, policymakers may need to take action to address supply chain disruptions, support sustainable agriculture practices that mitigate the impact of climate change, and ensure that lower-income households have access to affordable and healthy food options. By taking these steps, we can help to ensure that all Americans have access to the food they need to live healthy and productive lives. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe.